Welcome back to another episode of the Inquisitive Mamba Podcast. This is episode 71. We were here last week in studio. It's a pleasure to be here again. Thank you for having us. Deaf Studios Comedy Club, correct? Am I saying that right? Well, pleasure to be here. Lucas Claxton is my guest for today's show. So Lucas Claxton, welcome on the Inquisitive Mamba Podcast. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you very much, Joey. I'm happy to be back. We had a great one last time, and I'm looking to knock the ball out of the park again this time.
Looking to hit a home run out of the park. Well, you look wonderful. I really like the outfit that you chose today. The fit looks great. And well, without further ado, let's get into today's show. I hope everyone had a great week. Happy Sunday. We're almost there, starting the new work week coming up here. But the story is about you today. So first of all, tell everyone about you, what your story is about, kind of, where you're from, and kind of take it from there.
Okay, so my name is Lucas Claxton. I am 26 years old. I'm from Singapore, and I'm an entrepreneur. I would say my story started when I went to the University of Arizona back in 2016, and I was kind of going through the thrills of trying to figure out what I wanted to do, how I was going to get successful, how was I going to get to a comfortable life. And so I was actually attending the retail college at the time, and I came up with this first idea that didn't really pan out. And this was a real defining moment in my story for me. So I came up with this app that I thought there was a real issue in trying to share your personal information, your social media links and whatnot with other people. You could only share one at a time. So I was going to parties and meeting new people, new friends, and I was either sharing like my Instagram or my Snapchat, but only one of each to each person. And one night I thought to myself, wow, that's really not what I wanted to share. I wanted to share more. Like, let's say I would have liked to share my Instagram and my Snapchat to someone that I wanted to talk on both those platforms. But then if I was going like to the business school and going for like a career day or something like that, I wanted to be able to share my email, my LinkedIn, my phone number. So different pieces of information about my like contact, right?
Yeah.
So I thought of the idea of a virtual business card. And this was back in 2017. It was my second year in college. So actually I wasn't in the retail school just yet. I was actually going to community college right by the University of Arizona. And I thought like, oh, this is going to be like my big break. Like This idea popped like a light bulb in my mind. And I was like, damn, like right away I thought this can totally work. I don't see why this is not a thing yet. There should be one card, one virtual business card with a QR code on the back that controls all your information. So how it would look like in the simplest terms is picture your iPhone's like time screen, like your clock, right? So when you go and set alarms on your iPhone, there's like a number like 5 a.m. and then like on and off. And then the next one, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., right? On and off. So swap out the numbers for your social media links, for your phone number, for your email, for your LinkedIn, for your Snapchat, for your Instagram. And at any point in time, all that information will live at the destination of the QR code online. But that's where the destination is. You can still change the information at the destination from your phone. So I went to my dad and I was like, hey, I have this great idea. He had been working in tech his whole life, so I thought he would be someone really good to run it by. And he ended up loving it. And he said, okay, Luke, you're a sophomore in college. You don't have much money. I know you're not going to be able to like pursue this the way you want to, so I'm going to help you. And he helped me by giving me about like $1,500 and pointing me in the direction of you should go look for a company that can build UI UX for this app. And so I went around and shopped for a few different places. And I ended up landing on a company. I can't remember how I found them, but I thought I did a decent amount of research.
Yeah.
So I found this company. I gave them my idea. They seemed to love it. I got onto a contract kind of where I would pay them a lump sum of like about $1,500 for them to build an app. And this would include 7 different pages. So the home page, if you swipe up, the camera page to scan the QR code. If you swipe down, your personal QR code page. If you swipe right, you get that alarm clock page kind of with all your social links. And you swipe left, you have all your contacts.
A lot of swiping.
A lot of swiping. But in simplicity, like, it's just 7 pages.
Yeah.
And it could have been built relatively quickly. So the first issue I ran into was the people at the company. Well, the company gave me like 2 contacts that I would continuously be ping-ponging back and forth with, trying to ascertain whether or not I liked the designs, whether or not they were coming out the way I wanted them to. But long story short, they weren't. In fact, they weren't even getting back in contact with me for the majority part of the year. So I'd be like emailing them, calling them. They would be like kind of hiding from the phone calls, not replying to the emails. And I thought this was really weird.
Yeah.
And I was getting very frustrated. Like, keep in mind, like 4 months were going by and I was getting no response. And then I'd get like one phone call being like, oh, hey, sorry, like, we're working on it. I'm like, can I see something? What do you have so far? They're like, well, we don't really have anything so far. We're still working on it.
Wow.
We'll, patch you in soon.
Yeah.
And soon just kept going and going and going until about like 11 months went by. And I was like, hey, like, I paid you guys X amount of money. I haven't gotten any product back, any results back. What's going on?
Yeah.
And so finally they ended up giving me like 5 pages of the 7 that I'd asked for.
Yeah.
And it just looked terrible. The design was really bad. Like, the color scheme was not even the same color scheme I had asked for. UI UX is not too tough to do. You can go on Adobe and like create a screen graphically pretty easily if you put your time into it. So it looked like it was something they just crafted up overnight. It looked like they weren't very serious about it. And that really disheartened me. As a young entrepreneur, this was my first go around. I thought I had the big idea. I thought I was going to make it. And quite frankly, I got complacent. For that whole year, I was not going and learning how to build UI UX myself on YouTube. I was just waiting for these people I'd paid to go finish the job. And that should have been the lesson. It actually was the lesson that I learned from that experience. But fast forward towards the end of that year, I kind of gave up on the dream. And I was like, all right, like, this is probably not going to work. It's too much effort. And I'm not getting any results. So I'm just going to quit. And so I just left that idea in the sand for a while. And about 6 months after I quit on it, I went on to Instagram and I was scrolling and I saw dot cards.
What are dot cards?
So dot cards basically are the exact same thing as the idea I just gave you. It's a virtual business card turned into a physical card.
Yeah.
So one card kind of renders your old business cards useless. It's a contact sheet on a card, basically, right? A Rolodex on a card.
Yeah.
And I thought, God damn, they stole my idea. It's like, oh my God, like how did I let this happen to me? And so I mean, like, a week or 2 went by and I saw another company had it. This company called Blue Cards.
Okay.
And I was like, how are all these companies doing what I told this company in confidence like a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
And then I started to think maybe they kind of like...
Yeah, things weren't adding up.
Things weren't adding up. They were like leading me along, like telling me they were going to work on this thing, while maybe secretly they were working on it themselves. And so the company I had for the cards was registered under an LLC, and it was called Identify. Okay. Now, you can go into my LinkedIn, and you'll see that Identify was created back in like 2017.
Yeah.
And dot cards came out in 2018. So I actually beat these companies to the idea but I didn't put in the hard work to make sure that I protected myself.
So you did everything except kind of put your guard up.
Yeah,
You kind of just let everything else out
if
there.
anything, I gave them the idea. Who knows? Like maybe this person that started dot cards and maybe the person that started blue cards came up with the idea themselves like 6 to 12 months after I did.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a big coincidence. Like I'm not saying that they stole anything.
Right. But it just seems that it's going in that direction in a way.
No,
It
I
seems
mean, it's
like
just a possibility, really.
Yeah.
It could be a huge coincidence, but it's also a possibility that, I somehow just got the rug pulled out from under me.
Yeah.
And so I was pretty upset about it. I was like, God damn it. Like, this was my big break. Like,
Yeah.
company like Dot Card right now, I'm sure they're backed by so many different investors. I think that the CEO of that company has a net worth of something like a couple million, I think up to like $10 million.
Wow.
And I mean, that's not like he just went out and like worked hard as a bartender every day and made $1 million. Like he took this idea, got backing, and people invested $10 million in him. And because he owns probably like anywhere from 51 to 100% of that company, his net worth is that much money now, right? And my net worth at this point is what's in my savings account, which is a couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
So I was like, how did I let this just
slip away?
Yeah. So yeah, it was a pretty tough moment for me, and I thought I'm not going to think of another great idea that is going to be like life-changing. And so I just kind of let it go for about a year. And I was working hard in trying to get into the University of Arizona again because I had actually had to leave the college in my first year to go to community college.
Yeah.
And I was more focused on retail at this point. I was in the retail school now, and I was learning about blue ocean strategy. Basically, how to build the best businesses is to build innovative businesses, ones that are not taking market share from other saturated markets, but instead building their own market share in a brand new market. And so I wanted to create something that hadn't been done before, like Identify.
Yeah.
But this time I was going to do it with products and building an assortment. And so again, in college, for the second time, I had one night where the idea just sparked in my head.
The light bulb came on.
Light bulb came on again.
Thomas Edison
like,
light bulb.
Finally,
it clicked. It clicked. It's Thomas Edison light bulb. It clicked.
Yep.
I gotcha.
It clicked. And I thought to myself, okay, well, when I was back in Singapore and I'd lived there for 19 years of my life, there were a lot of brick and mortar stores that sold men's grooming products, like mainly like hair clay and things like that. Stuff you'd think that a barbershop should sell, but instead they didn't. So you'd have to go to stores to find like hair pomade, hair paste, face wash, like body wash.
Super inconvenient.
Very inconvenient.
Yeah.
And so Singapore actually had these brick and mortar stores. It was still kind of inconvenient because they were so small and all over the place, right? But America didn't even have that. Like, America has Sally's Beauty for women. They have Ulta. They have Sephora. They have all of these specialty stores for women, but they don't have a single specialty store for men or men's grooming. They have men's apparel specialty stores. That's just a men's clothing brand.
Yeah.
But other than that, they don't have a single specialty store out there selling an assortment of goods for men's personal care, for men's grooming, even for men's styling, lifestyle purposes. So I thought, wow, this is a huge white space in the market, and this is something that I truly believe could really change a lot of people's lives, could solve a lot of problems out in the marketplace that guys are currently facing. And so I fully believed in this idea too, just like Identify. And this time, the reason why I told you the story of Identify before is when I failed that, I learned a big lesson. If you have a great idea, don't let anybody take it away from you. Don't let anybody come in and slow you down. Don't let anybody tell you that, all right, it's okay, you can be lazy and pay us money and we'll do the work for you. No, that never works. It's not a smart move whatsoever. If you have an idea that you believe in, you need to pursue it fully. And so when I had the idea of Masculin, I thought to myself, okay, I need to learn every single thing about how to run a men's grooming store.
Yeah.
How do I purchase the products? Where do I find them? How do I price them out? How do I assort them all together? How do I build a website? How do I don't know, how do I do all of it all at once, right? How do I do the marketing for it? And so I was in college at the time, and I started popping into all these different classes that would teach me these things. I popped into retail classes teaching about like retail math and pricing. I went into marketing classes teaching me about how to market products better. I went into a class that taught how to make a website on Wix and Shopify. And so I was gaining all these skills.
Yeah.
And I was collecting everything I needed, right? One by one, I was just like picking away at like all the knowledge that I needed to bring this thing to market. And at the very end of college, I'd graduated, and I still felt like I didn't have enough to go to market with this. I didn't have enough capital, for one, to just throw a startup out there and let it flourish, right? And I didn't have the connections to vendors, and I also did not have the confidence to not go and do what everyone else was doing, which is go and get a job, and just go straight into being a full-blown entrepreneur, which is what I really wanted to do. So I took the slower route at that point, and I went and got a job. I got a job with this retailer I'm not going to name, and I worked as an assistant buyer for about 2 years for them. And while I was working for them, I was learning all about the same things, like how to price your items, what the market's looking for, how to build an assortment, how to find vendors, how to contact vendors, what to say to them when you contact them. This is an industry where you have to learn like the ins and outs of like how do you respect a vendor? How do you respectfully approach them? How do you get them to like you?
Yep.
That's an art.
Learning every detail is super important. Like the ins and outs, like you said, you want to know exactly what you're getting yourself into, because if you don't, somebody else on your team is probably doing 10 times more work than you are, and they're finding out the ins and outs, and you come into work and they know more than you. You want to know, you want to be one step ahead of that person.
You have to be one step ahead of everybody else, especially if it's your dream.
100%.
It's okay if it's someone else's dream and you don't know everything about it. That's fine, But if you call this your passion, you better put in that Mamba mentality to like go all the way and above and beyond, And so I was trying to do that. And then around like the 1.5 year mark, I started to feel like, okay, I'm learning everything I need to know, and I want to go and start this thing because I feel like I might be getting a little stagnant. Yeah. So what I mean by that is I was going to the market. I was going into a bunch of different stores like JCPenney, Macy's, even Home Depot, and I was finding men's grooming products there all of a sudden, right?
Even in Home Depot?
Even in Home Depot.
Wow, I've never heard of that one. That's interesting.
Yeah, big brand Duke Cannon. They are all over Home Depot. They sell soaps, body washes, like hair products, everything in the men's grooming industry they sell, and they do so really well. They sell like huge bars of soap that are way well worth their value and beating the competition at like almost like lower prices than them, better scents, better packaging. They're just like monopolizing the market. And so when I saw that they were selling at Home Depot, I started to realize that the wave of men's grooming was here. So just like the wave of virtual business cards, right? Yep. I kind of predicted it, but I didn't get my surfboard out just quite in time. And this time I was not going to let the same thing happen. So I decided at that very point, it is time to quit my 9-to-5 job. Sure, I don't have enough confidence to go and do this thing. Sure, I don't have enough backing in terms of financial like investment. Yeah. But I don't care. I'm not losing this idea. Yeah. I'm going for it. And so what round I ended two. Up, round two, right? And I did not want there to be a third strikeout. I did not want this to be a second strikeout. I wanted it to be the home run on the second hit. Yep. And so I went to a friend of mine that worked a lot with cameras, And I asked him, hey, can you teach me how to do like product photography and videography? And he gave me some pointers, and I went off and bought my first camera. And I started the company Masculin, an online store for men's grooming products. And it's a specialty store for men's grooming products. And I went and acquired a bunch of brands. My first brand I acquired is called Mistral. And I went to them first, and I, showed them the idea, the mock-up of the website. And I said, hey, I would really like to have your products on my store.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to join? And they said, yeah. And so with them, I was able to go to all these other brands like Duke Cannon, which were much bigger, and actually have something to hold up and say, hey, look, these brands would love to join onto this house of brands Masculin. Why won't you do so? And so everyone kind of started to fall into line and join up as I started approaching them. And I took the camera that I got, and I started shooting photography and videography for all these products and putting them up on the website. And I basically built the brand kind of like within a span of like a week. I had the website built, I had all the products up there, and the rest was marketing. And so I had to do marketing on a shoestring budget. I had to work my butt off and go out and, shoot product videos anytime I could, and try to make like reels and TikToks and all kinds of stuff, which I did not know how to do prior, on the fly, so that I could get the word out there. Because getting the word out there for your brand is extremely hard.
Yeah, extremely.
It's super hard.
Because there's so many brands out there now on social media. It's very hard to promote, especially with the way that it is now on social media. Even if we have like the little amount of followers you have, most people aren't going to see that. You can click the promotion tab, or you can add credits that you can use an ad, but it's still really hard.
Yeah. Like, I challenge anyone, right? Like, go and
do it.
Start a brand, and then go and tell all your friends about it.
Yeah.
Like, put it on your story, whatnot, right? I'm telling you, less than 10 people are going to go follow your brand.
Oh yeah, no,
like,
100%.
Nobody cares.
No, they don't.
They don't until it's a big thing that's proven to be making money and whatnot. So you have to go and find your own connections, and you have to go and tell them where the website is.
Yes.
You have to go find a physical location. You have to go get people to go there, and you have to go do all that work yourself.
It's not going to come to you. And I can relate to you on that level with the podcast. I tell my friends about it. Maybe 5 or 6 of them or 7 will click on it, and they'll go, oh, I really like that one interview. But it's the consistency, and it's hard. Like
That's as far as it goes.
It's as far as it goes.
Yeah.
They'll watch the clip. They're not going to sit there and watch the whole podcast.
They're not diehard fans.
No. They're like, I listen to your voice enough. I've heard you. I'm not going to sit down there and listen to you for an hour. I'm like, well, I mean, it's just supporting each other's journey,
Well, look, you know what, Joey? One day, like, it's going to be a big hit idea, and everyone's going to be like, oh, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Like,
and it's like, it's not the same, but
it's
continue.
not the same. But yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
So that's just the name of the game. That's how you play it, right?
Yep.
So, I was working on a shoestring budget to get all this marketing out there. And the only thing driving me at that point, I'd quit my 9-to-5. I had like 3 months of no pay.
Wow.
And I thought I was going to sink.
What were you doing when you weren't getting, like, how were you making any money? Like, what were you doing?
I went to bartending school. I learned how to be a bartender in like 3 weeks. And I went and applied to a bunch of bars and asked them to be a bartender. I went somewhere and worked as a bartender and server.
Wow.
And I was just working night jobs.
You were living in LA?
I was living in LA, yeah.
Wow.
So I was working night jobs to fuel the day job that I wanted to live for myself, instead of going and doing someone else's day job.
Wow.
And I'm a firm believer that, like, don't go and sell your soul to the 9-to-5. Like, unless there's some path you see there, or there's some value that you're getting from it.
Yep.
Don't go do that blindly, because
you're just going to suck yourself in like a vacuum, and you're going to look back 1, 2, 3 years down the road. I'm still in this job. I'm not even happy.
Exactly. And who are you?
Yeah.
What
defines you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We said that at the exact same time.
You,
That's
right?
so funny.
Like, does the company that you're working for design you? Is that who you are?
Yeah.
At many points when I was working the 9-to-5, I would maybe go out to a bar with my friends, right?
Yeah.
And I'd meet people, And it's weird, especially in LA. People always ask you, "Oh, what do you do?"
Yeah, of course. The first thing they ask you, what do you do?
Yeah, or like, "Tell me about yourself."
Yeah,
right?
it's like I'm not selling you. I'm not looking for a job. I just like looking to like make conversation
Connect.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah, but that seems to be what everyone's interested about. And
Yep.
so, then your job kind of defines you.
Yeah.
And so do you really want to be associated to something that you're just doing
Right.
to make a living? Not really, half the time, right?
Yeah.
So I really didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I was fueled by the desire of not ever wanting to go and do that 9 to 5 ever again. And I was also fueled by the distaste of losing my first idea and the real knowing that it was all my fault.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't push hard enough. I didn't go and do all the things that I was supposed to do. I didn't go on YouTube like a psychomaniac and watch 101 videos on how to build a website and how to build UI UX and how to build an app and all kinds of stuff. I just didn't want to do the work.
Yeah.
And because I didn't want to do the work, life didn't want to give me the reward.
Yeah.
And so now I'm lucky enough to get a second chance at, going and starting a business that I think could change the market and provide great value to people out there. And this time, I'm not going to let anyone step in the way and stop me. So I wasn't going to let a 9 to 5 job do it. And I was not going to let the not knowing of how to build my own marketing material do it.
Yeah.
I just went out and tried to become the jack of all trades, tried to learn everything I could, tried to do it as quickly as I could, and to get my surfboard really metaphorically up and ready for this wave that's out there. And so I'm proud to say that, at the moment, things seem to be going really good.
Yeah.
I've, been able to create very interesting videos that people seem to like and want to watch, that have brought them into understanding what my brand is, what we sell. And we've been able to attract customers. We've been able to attract, even better than customers, new connections of people that want to be a part of the brand,
Yeah.
that want to either be ambassadors or they want to be like side small businesses that want to work with us, basically. So like now we're having pop-ups.
Yeah.
Now we're doing pop-ups live all throughout LA. So people in LA can actually get an experience of what it would be like to shop at a men's specialty store, which no one else really in America seems to be able to have that opportunity.
Which is really weird, because you would think men's grooming would have their own section, like not just in Ulta, but like their own store. It's just weird. Like I have to go to Ulta to buy men's grooming.
Yeah.
I just go on Amazon. That's how like I relate, and I just say that's my storefront of like what I need to get. I buy my hair stuff on there, because it's way easier than having to go to Sally's Beauty and asking the girl, "Hey, where's the men's grooming stuff?"
Exactly.
It's like, I don't want to do that. I don't even want to talk to her. I just want to know where the hair stuff is at.
Yeah, one of my biggest pet peeves as a guy is like, it stems from a memory as a child. So like, when your mom says, "Oh, we're going to the grocery store.
Yes.
You want to come with me?" And then you go to the grocery store and you're stuck there for like an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. And you just want to leave like after the first 5 minutes.
Yep.
But your mom's just picking away at all the stuff in the store, like getting everything she needs for the house.
Yep.
And so like, I love my mom. I really appreciate what she does and what she was doing, but it gives the same kind of feeling where I don't want to go as a guy into a store like Target and walk through like 15 aisles just to get to the one small aisle that you have for my products and then go stand in line with a bunch of other people to check out. I don't want to do that in Sally's Beauty. I don't want to do that in Ulta. I don't want to do that in Sephora. I want to go to one, like you said, one store that's dedicated to my stuff. Go, like, that's what a specialty store is. And they have specialty stores everywhere. Victoria's Secret is a specialty store. Staples is a specialty store. Think of that. They sell office supplies, Office Depot. Like, those companies are so successful. Specialty stores, I learned in college, have a 99% rate. Sorry, let me recorrect that. A 90% rate of customer satisfaction. Now, why do they have such a much higher customer satisfaction than other stores? Because they're catering to the one pain point that all these customers have in common, and they're putting it all in one place. Now, what else are they good at? They're really good at getting all that stuff at amazing value for their customers. Why? Because they're buying at bulk. They're buying at much higher quantities than any of the other brands and retailers are buying at. They're buying higher quantities of staples, like staple bullets. Staples is doing that at a higher quantity than Target's doing that, right? Like Staples has more paper clips than Target does. And so they're able to sell it at a lower price because they got to buy it at a lower price because they were able to offer the vendor a much higher quantity of sale.
Wow.
And so what specialty stores are able to do is they're able to kind of bring much more value to a targeted consumer. So if you can find the targeted consumer and you can find the vendor that's willing to help you bring that value over there, then you're set. All you have to do is go build a assortment of all the different vendors that pull together these products. And so I did that for Masculin. I went and looked for a vendor that was the best at building body washes, Duke Cannon. I went to vendors that were the best at building deodorants, and I found that to be off court. I went to a bunch of different vendors and found like the best at facial moisturizers, the best at lip balms, the best at hair pomades. You know, like Bird Pomade is a great brand that I love that does their pomades really well. And so all these brands, they actually like kind of, like Duke Cannon has hair products, but I would not say that their hair products are the best in the industry compared to others. Like every brand kind of indexes differently in their specialties. Mm-hmm. And so it was a very fun challenge to go and find all the different types of products that different brands were good at and try to pool them together to sort of build the Avengers team of products.
Now, when you did this, would you just wake up in the morning and just be like, I have a checklist, these are all the places I'm going to today? Like, how would you do this?
Yeah, I did. So so I locked myself in my apartment for like a week. Wow. And I just, first I built the website for like 3 days. And then after that, I had a list of like all these vendors after Mistral. So the first vendor, Mistral, I went to email them and asked them if I could go and visit their showroom in LA at this place called LA Live.
Oh yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah, it's full of
downtown.
Downtown.
Yeah.
There's a huge big chair out front that looks like a giant should be sitting in it. And it's a very cool place.
The Lakers just had their Kobe like ceremony thing there. I think it was 2 days ago.
Oh, really?
LA Live. Yeah, I just saw that on the thing because the Lakers are getting ready to give Kobe a statue for next year.
Okay, wait. So, maybe I'm speaking it wrong. I think it's called LA Mart, not LA Live.
All right.
LA Live is being a LA local.
Yeah, you get it. I got you.
I got it confused.
It's okay.
LA Mart is basically a wholesale market where like it's kind of prestigious. Like you have to have an appointment to get in and go and like see these vendors. You can't just go in and walk around and see all the stuff. So like I had to get a wholesale license and I had to make an appointment to go see them. And once I went and saw them, I was able to go and email a bunch of other brands. So back to the week in my apartment, I was emailing all these different brands and saying, hey, this is who I am. This is our website. This is what we do. These are the products we currently have. These are the products we'd like to have. Would you be able to help us out and supply us with some of these products? And one by one, I started to get emails back from each of these brands and saying like, okay, we like the idea. We'd like to have a Zoom call with you and, talk to you about it. And so I would sit throughout the whole week. I had like shorts on and a jacket
in the Zoom interview
and all the Zoom.
Hey, it's
Zoom
only the top matters.
Top
just shorts, whatever you want to wear.
But I look so professional from the top up.
Top up. That's the best way to go about it. Shorts, now who cares?
Yep. Yeah. And so I sold every single company on the idea that we were the perfect destination for a men's specialty store and that their brand should be in it. If they weren't in it, you'd be missing out on what's going to be a leading name in the men's grooming industry in the next 5 years.
Wow.
And so really there's no loss for them, like they're going to make money from me buying their products at wholesale. That's what they're in business for. They sell their products for wholesale and retail. And they're also going to get more exposure because they're going to get their products out in a brand new brand that's going to, hopefully take their products to a new level when it gets, out to the world, that we are the destination for men's specialty grooming.
So when all this was going on for you, like with the Zoom interviews and trying to build the business, you were still not making any money?
Yeah, no, not making any money.
If you don't mind me asking, how were you able to do this? I mean, like, that may be a personal question, but like when you're sharing this, it's really interesting to know because life's expensive, especially out in LA.
Well, I was being a bartender at night.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was making enough money to put food on the table being a bartender, and I was just getting really tired.
Yeah.
I was just extremely tired all the time because I was like working during the day on my business model and how I was going to execute everything, and working all the nights to basically pay for everything.
That's remarkable. It's crazy because while all this is going on, you're a bartender. You're working night shifts, and then you're still building your business, and people don't realize how hard it is to build a business.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Crazy to think
You're
about.
not going to have money in the first 6 months.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But recently you got your first big order. What 2 weeks ago? It was a $500 order.
That's correct.
So talk about that.
Okay, so I recently started having a pop-up in this cafe in downtown LA, and I have this big wall that I have all my products on, right?
Yeah.
So I'm able to show the whole assortment. And I started building these kits. So even though I have an assortment of products, I have now these boxes that are branded as masculine face kit, hair kit, body kit, beard kit.
Yeah.
And in each box, I would assort from different brands the best of each category, like the best pomades, the best shampoo, and like put them together. And this is your hair kit, right? And so this customer walks in one day and he asks me about the products. And so I give him the full rundown and my sales pitch. And he liked it so much, he thought I was very knowledgeable about the products. He believed that, I knew what he would need. And so he said to me, look, I want to come back in 2 days and spend $500 here. Are you willing to put together an assortment for me by the time I come back? I said, of course.
100%. I'll do whatever you need me to do, sir. Right on.
Yep,
right on. The little salute emoji. Yep, right on. I'm with you.
Yep, I'm with you. Yeah. I love that emoji.
I do too. I've used it occasionally. Some people now use it more than ever. I'm like, you don't need to use it then. You don't need to use it. Just not all the time. It's just once in a while. I do like the sunglass emoji though. I use that all the time.
Yeah, I like
the cool guy emoji.
Yeah. It's you're chilling.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, I was chilling after hearing that. I was more than chilling. I was extremely happy. This was the biggest purchase that I had ever gotten for Masculin. Wow. And it was the perfect amount of validation for me to feel like this is an idea that could work. Yeah, I left my 9 to 5. Yeah, I went months, without much of a paycheck. And I also went months of like working a bartending job at night and getting really tired. Yeah. And at many points I believed it's not going to work. This is like, you might have to leave LA. You might have to go stay at your uncle and aunt's place up in Northern California, or you might have to, I don't know what you're going to have to do. You might have to just go sell your soul and get a 9 to 5 again.
You might have to move back to Arizona.
Yeah. I mean, that was a big possibility. I was actually contemplating moving back to Arizona.
Now, how long ago was this?
The contemplation?
Yeah.
About the beginning of this year,
So the beginning of this year, January 2023.
Yeah.
This was not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
Yeah. I mean, the pop-ups only started about like 2-3 months ago.
Yeah. And I attended the first pop-up.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So before that, I was getting a sale, which was like, keep in mind, maybe like $50 is like one average basket size.
Yeah.
I was getting a $50 sale every month, maybe, from one random person. That's how hard it is for people to find your online store.
Now, were you still bartending when you were making these $50 sales a month, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were getting that income, but you also were. That's not a lot of money.
It's not,
especially being out here.
It's not a lot of money because not only was I like bartending, I was still trying during the day to like build the brand more.
Wow.
And so I had to cut back on some hours of bartending just because I was getting so tired. So I really wasn't earning that much.
On average, how much were you making a week?
I was making maybe like, at that point, like $700 a week.
That's not bad, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's still hard to live off of because bartending shifts and stuff. I mean, it just really depends on the tips.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
1 week it could be 700, the next week it could be 500, the next week it could be 400. Like you just don't know. It's
Yeah, there were weeks
whoever's
like
looking to come in and
$350
Yeah.
for 1 week's of work.
That's crazy.
That's not uncommon, and that like it made me want to just like
crumple up into a ball.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, sorry. I had to finish the sentence there. I was like, I gotta finish this for him.
No, you got it. You got it. So yeah, but I mean, luckily we're not there anymore. You know, luckily the pop-up started, and I was able to then see that if this brand was in front of people's faces, they would want to buy it, because everyone that was coming into the cafe were there for food every single day, right? We'd maybe get like, it was still slow traffic on the streets of LA and downtown, so we were maybe getting like 7 customers in there every day getting food. And of the 7 people that would come in every day, about like 4 to 5 of them would end up buying something. About 6 of them would stay for the conversation, and 1 person would just leave.
So the pop-up, is it still going on right now or no?
Yeah. It's going on for 3 more days.
So from the time you started to now, how much money have you made with the pop-up?
Something like $3,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So I made $2,000 in the last 30 days. And then there was maybe another month before that where I earned $1,000, but I wasn't having the pop-up as frequently. Like at the very beginning of the pop-up, it started with like, why don't you come in and do a pop-up for 1 day?
Okay.
And so went and did a 1-day pop-up.
Yeah.
And then the guy that owned the store said, why didn't you come back and do it for a week? So we did it for a week. And then he said, why don't you stay and do it for a month? So we did it for a month.
So when this pop-up is over in the next 3 days, where is the next location?
So that's pretty interesting. I've got a few locations lined up. Since we're in the men's grooming industry, it's very parallel to like, say, barbershops, gyms, and other places where like, you know, guys commonly frequent. The first one that I'm going to go do is a barber that I work really close with. His brother is also a barber.
Okay.
And he just opened a new barbershop called Freshman's Barbershop in Downey, California.
Okay.
It's in a gym, a private gym, so they hold like night classes and things like that. So it's kind of the perfect area for Masculin to go pop up in.
Yeah.
It's barbershop, gym, like the synchronicities of both are perfect for the business. And so I'm going to go there for about like a week, let's say. And if all goes well, I'm actually going to leave a vending machine there and let the vending machine continue to run sales in the barbershop and go on to the next pop-up. And that pop-up I'm very interested about, because that is going to be one where if everything goes well, it might be on Rodeo Drive.
Oh, wow.
It might be a building that a new connection of mine is able to help me pop up in. And yeah, it's Rodeo Drive. If you know anyone listening doesn't know much about LA, it's like one of the best shopping districts
in the world.
Like it's so prestigious. It's so like high traffic. Everyone there's willing to spend money.
You won't find any homeless people there.
You won't find any homeless people there. Like it's clean, it's pristine, and you have big spenders everywhere. It's the perfect place for a pop-up to flourish.
I would agree with that 100%. I've been to Rodeo Drive a few times. Have never dropped a lot of money there, but it is a really cool place, and there's a lot of traffic and action going on there, so I think that'd be perfect for you.
Yeah, really.
So I wanted to ask you recently, what has been on your mind that you would like to share with listeners that, you know, maybe somebody could take, something from this podcast or just like everything that you said, but what's something on your mind that you would really like to share with people that you just like really want to get off your chest?
Okay. if you have a dream and you want to chase it, don't let anybody or anything get in the way of you going and pursuing that dream. I've had people steal my dream from right out under me, like you heard earlier in the show. I've had companies tell me, if you chase your dream, it's going to be a conflict of interest and we're going to have to do something about it, aka maybe fire you. I've had all kinds of these experiences where by some divine intervention, the world is trying to stop you from doing what you want to go and do. I believe that all those moments are moments where life is testing you on how bad do you really want this. And the only real response that you should give is, I want it more than anything, so get out of my way.
Wow, that's really good there. And I completely agree with that. Like, don't let somebody crush your dreams because of what they say.
Yeah.
Who cares what they say? Do what makes you happy.
What do they know?
Right? What do they know? What do they know? They haven't done it.
Yeah.
Until you can walk in those shoes, until they can walk in those shoes, they're not going to know.
Yeah. Don't listen to someone that's selling their soul to a 9-to-5 job.
A lot of people are so negative and they don't see the positive outlooks on certain things. They just get so stuck in a rut. They just keep spinning on hamster wheel and they get caught in a bubble and they can't get out. It's like, you have to see what's in front of you. Stop looking left. Stop looking right. Just keep going forward.
Yeah. Exactly.
Don't worry about what happened a couple years ago. I actually said that on a clip I recorded about a month ago. Stop focusing so much on the past. Focus on the present.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're focusing on the present. You're not worried about what happened, back in college or, back home or previously what happened with Masculin. You're not worried about January. You're looking forward.
Exactly.
That's what makes it so important. That's what matters the most. If you keep dwelling on the past, you're never going to know what's in front of you.
Yeah, you will never have the ability to move forward if you just keep looking in the past.
Yeah, life is what you make of it.
Yeah,
it's your story, what you're writing, what Masculine Supply is about. And that's what makes it so special. Yeah. Nobody can write it for you. Well, I guess people can write it for you, but it wouldn't make it special. It's about your journey. There's going to be so many ups. There's going to be so many downs, and you've already experienced those. But when you fall down, you get up 10 times harder. You learn from the past. Mm-hmm. And life is your greatest teacher.
Yeah. Similarly to like, don't focus on the past, don't focus on the future either.
No,
like,
focus on what's going on right now.
Yeah. What's right in front of you.
How can I better myself tomorrow? Mm-hmm. How can I better myself right now?
Yeah.
Not how can I better myself a year down the road? Well, no. Yeah. You need to worry about what is going on in this exact moment.
Yeah.
How can I perfect my craft? Yep. How can I make Masculin better? Mm-hmm. What can I do to make the product stand out more? What can I do to put it on social media more? Am I posting 3 times a day? Mm-hmm. Am I interacting with my followers? Am I posting videos? Am I posting stuff that's going to be engaging? Am I saying the right thing when I pitch my product? Am I prepared when I go and speak to somebody? Those little things really add up, and you may look back a week later, you're like, I did that first pop-up. I can do the next one better. What did I do? How can I improve? What can I do to make myself better?
Yeah. Compete with yourself.
Yep.
Don't focus on competing with any other image out there. Don't look at your friend's life and be like, wow, he has what I want. I want that. I'm going to compete with him. Like, to get better in the field that he's in, or, whatnot.
That one really resonates with me, mainly because we are so focused on everyone else around us.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be there for your friends. And we've talked about this, last week, and we've had conversations about this, but focus on you. Mm-hmm. Who cares what they're doing else over there? I don't care if they're in Italy. I don't care if they're in New York. Focus on you, because I'm sorry, they don't really care about what you've got going unless you were really on the mountaintop, or kind of like you said with this podcast or Masculin Supply. How many people are really going to click on that for you?
Exactly. Unless you're at the top.
They don't care.
And they only want that stuff when you're at the top, because they kind of like...
They're like, oh, you're around that person? You're around that person? Oh, let me get around that now.
Yeah.
Whoa, you're over here now? Yeah. No. You weren't there when the ticket sales were really low.
Yeah, exactly.
You weren't there when we were in the G League and now we're going to the NBA.
Exactly.
You weren't there when we were on the practice squad and now we're in the NFL.
Where were you when I was in the trenches?
Right? Where were you when I was in JUCO? For anyone that, we talk about sports, but JUCO is like the lowest level of college sports. And then you work your way up, D3, D2, D1. Where are you now? And we're not saying we're there. We're working our way to get there.
Yeah.
But we're also learning as we go. you're going to make mistakes.
We're learning who our circle is. You know,
Yep.
I saw
Yep.
a really good quote the other day from Tyson Fury,
Yeah.
one of the best heavyweight champions in the world in his time, right? And he was someone that was a bum his whole
Yes.
life. Like he was in boxing, but then he kind of like became a drunk and lost his life and then went to shambles, right? And he lost all his friends. And he said, once he got back to the top, he said that when he was down, everyone left him.
Yep.
And that's when he was able to find out who's truly there for him. Only the people that when you have nothing to offer, still calling you every day, checking in on you, saying, hey, are you okay? What can we do to help you, right? Only those people you should really keep in that small circle that you're going to elevate with.
On average, most people keep a very, short friend group, especially I guess when you're in high school, you want everyone to like you and you want to be the most popular guy and you want to be walking through the halls with the varsity jacket and you got the really attractive, high school girlfriend and stuff. But then as time starts to go on, you get in college, you start to lose that circle and you start to look back and go, oh, I'm not as popular as I was, or, oh, I moved away from home, or we're in different colleges now. Are those people still going to be there? Are they going to be around you? Yeah. Are you going to be focused on that? Or are you going to be focused on what's in front of you?
Exactly.
So I think that's a really good way to put it. For some people, they're so caught up in the popularity and this, like, do your own thing.
Yeah.
Don't follow into the trends and the fads and this and that. Right? Make your own style.
Yeah. Honestly, at the end of the day, I feel like your own story really starts once you leave college.
Yeah.
Like even college is kind of like high school. It's kind of popularity based. It's fun. It's a great time, but it's not real life. You're not paying for all your own things.
Nope.
You're not having real responsibilities. You're constantly partying probably. That's fun for 4 years.
Yeah.
But once you get out of that and you go get a real job where you have to like work a 9 to 5, let's say, or work every day to make income to pay rent.
Yep.
Your realities start to shift.
Your whole dynamic changes. Your whole life changes. So many people would ask me, why didn't you join a fraternity? Why weren't you in the cool fraternity? I said, I didn't care about it. I had so many outside things going on and I was playing hockey. I was focused on modeling. I was focused on building friendships in college that would last outside of fraternities. They're like, oh, well, you get in a frat and you can be around all these cool people and stuff. And I'm like, I can see those people when I go out, or I can, if I really want to hang out with that person, I can see them other than being in a fraternity with them. And they're like, oh, well, fraternity, you put it on your resume. I'm like, nobody talks about that. Like, I'm not going into finance with my finance bro. Like, I don't care about that.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of a weird
it was just a weird thing. And like, yeah, okay, maybe some people wanted to join those fraternities because they wanted to build those friendships and they wanted to think they were still in college, after they graduated. None of that matters, really. I hate to break it to you.
Well, I'll tell you, none of that happens. I was in a fraternity, and like once we left college, it's like everyone's back at stabbing each other's backs.
Yep.
Like,
I have friends that are post college now. They were in big fraternities. Most of them don't even talk to each other. Yeah. I've got a couple friends at home. Like, you were in a fraternity, well, you don't talk to them. Oh yeah. I was like, okay, well, so, you were in the fraternity in college and it's expensive too. It's not cheap.
It's like you're paying a fee every single month.
Your dues, then you get new merch and t-shirts they give you. And it's like, it's a whole thing, man.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's very fleeting. It doesn't last forever.
Exactly. Fleeting is the perfect word for it.
You get the good, bad, and the ugly. You get the highs of it and you get the lows of it. Not every day is it some, walking through roses and petals and tulips of the fraternity life. So yeah, that's a little bit about the college life and aspect. We just graduated recently. I did too. So like we kind of have that feel, but it feels so good to get out of that.
I agree.
Be removed from it. It's like I don't wake up.
Defining in my perspective.
I agree.
I'm starting to define myself more than I ever have before.
Yep.
I have more value now than I ever had before.
Yep.
Before I was just like of social value in some sense, right? Now I'm of like personal value. Now I hold myself to a higher standard and I do much more meaningful things with my time when before I feel like maybe I didn't even respect my time. I was going around and just trying to like have fun.
Yep.
And I guess, you do that when you're a kid and when you turn 21, all that.
you
big
party and you have fun
put
and you're
on
going to
there,
do
yeah.
stupid things, but learning from those mistakes and hiccups and bumps is what really, makes you as a person. The last thing I wanted to say is I think time management is so important now, especially with how we're getting older. A lot of people do work that 9 to 5, but even if you don't, like balancing and utilizing your time throughout the day.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if I have to focus on this in the morning, then I need to put all my time and energy into that. If I finish work after, let's say I'm out at 5:30, I need to go to the gym and I need to put that time slot in there. And then I need to work on another thing that I'm trying to build.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can relate. I know your schedule is so, kind of lopsided with the day. Sometimes of the half the day you might have all about masculine, but there's other things you're building within your time frame of masculine. Time management is so important.
Time flies.
Yes.
It flies.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you said that.
I did not realize that in college. I'd wake up like at 2 p.m. and still had a full day of like partying ahead of me.
Oh geez. I remember those days like yesterday. Oh
but
man.
now it's like you wake up,
Yep.
you like my schedule right now. I wake up at about like 7:30, 8, and maybe I get some breakfast or something, and then I go to the store where the pop-up's happening.
Yep.
And I work there at the store from 9 to 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And once I get out at 2, I go home and I work out for maybe an hour, right? An hour and a half if I'm lucky. And that's about like 4 o'clock by the time I'm done with that. Then I make a meal really quickly because I have to leave by 4:50 to drive about 35 minutes down to Marina Del Rey to go and bartend out there.
You still bartend?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, now,
oh my goodness.
now I only bartend 2 days out of the
Hey, it's still extra money on the side. It's money that you didn't have in your pocket that you have now.
Yeah.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I hate it.
Hey,
I hate
but
doing
that's what that
double like shift.
Yeah.
God.
So then you do have a very so your schedule is not as lopsided as I thought. You 9 to 2 and then you work out, you have a meal and then you bartend. So you don't have a lot of time throughout your day too. So you're trying to balance what you have. Yeah. It's like a peanut butter jelly sandwich with the peanut butter and you put all the jelly and whatever you can and you just push it all together.
I want as much
it's jam-packed.
peanut butter and jelly
I want
in the middle,
as much as I
get
can.
is the bread on the
Don't
sides.
give me the peanut butter and jelly sandwich that has no peanut butter, no jelly.
Exactly.
It's not don't give me vanilla ice cream with barely any chocolate sauce on there.
Yeah. I think that one of the most important things in everyone's life is to make sure that you put aside time to be physically active.
Yes. Super important.
Yeah. Because it feeds the mental. If you like your body and you like what it's capable of, your mind will be happier. Similarly, if you are able to push out a certain amount of if you are able to break your own records physically, consistently over and over and over again, you will build this confidence in your head that you are capable of doing the impossible.
Yep.
And that is really a very pivotal characteristic that not a lot of people are able to carry. A lot of people feel like, maybe they quit the gym every single day or they quit whatever task that they're doing every single day. And that works in the opposite way. Then you start to believe that you're not capable of even doing the capable. And then that starts to deteriorate your self-worth and how you perceive yourself. And so the battle really begins, in my mind, in the gym. If you are able to go and do that and fix and set that up yourself and break your own records, you can go and build a business and break your records there. As long as it's a mental game at that point. It's are you able to push beyond how you pushed before in hopes that the results will be better. If they're not, whatever. But if they are, you just showed yourself that you're able to do the impossible.
You're capable of doing it. So it was a pleasure to have you on. Before we do wrap up today, we're not going to have time for our 5 questions as always, but that's okay. We kind of got some questions in there. Floyd Mayweather said this in the past. You sleep for 8 hours, you work for 16. There's 24 hours in a day. You work for 16 hours, you sleep for 8. Whatever you can get in that 16 hours is super important for you to acknowledge, see what's in front of you, see what you're going to be tackling that day. And there you go.
Yeah, if you have 16 hours in your day outside of when you sleep, you better run like hell because someone else
run
is
like the wind
hell.
Because somebody's going to be right behind you. They're going to be pulling your tail and trying to
Run like the devil's chase.
Yeah. Run like you got a fire under your tail, under your ass,
under your belly. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So it was a pleasure to have you on, Lucas. We got a chance to hear a lot about Masculin Supply, the backstory of Masculin Supply. I don't think you left out any details. I got to learn like the ins and outs of your business. I got to learn about UIX. Is that what it's called?
UI and UX.
UI and UX. That was really cool to hear about. Never really knew about that. The business cards, the virtual cards, the pop-up, where your story is at now. It's just amazing to hear your story. It was a pleasure to have you on. Guys, as always, the Inquisitive Mamba Podcast on Spotify, the Inquisitive Mamba Podcast on Apple Podcasts. These short little clips will be sent out after the full podcast is released on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. And Lucas, before we do end, you got to plug your socials.
Okay, sweet. So for my business, Masculin Supply, you can follow us on Instagram at masculin without an E at the end. So that's MASCULIN supply.com. That's the website though. The website's going to be masculinsupply.com. And you can follow my personal socials at Luke, Luke, Claxton with 2 N's at the end. So that's CLAXTONN.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I had to show this before we started the show. I got myself a little bit of a hard 5% alcohol. I didn't know that it was alcohol, but it did get me through. It kind of loosened us up throughout the show. And as always, do what you love and everything else will fall into place. We'll see you guys next time.